Lonely 90-Day Fiancé star finally reveals the truth after saying goodbye to baby and wife ***. In the emotionally charged world of reality television, few shows have captured the complexities of love, culture, and heartbreak quite like *90-Day Fiancé star. Over the years, the series has introduced audiences to couples from opposite sides of the globe, each navigating the intense pressures of immigration timelines, cultural clashes, and personal expectations. Among the most talked about stars in recent seasons is Ilesanmi, a man whose journey on the show left viewers heartbroken, confused, and ultimately searching for answers. After a whirlwind romance, a controversial breakup, and a painful separation from his newborn child, Michael has remained largely silent until now. For over a year, fans have speculated, dissected, and debated the downfall of Michael's relationship with his now ex-wife, Angela Deem. Their story, chronicled in *90-Day Fiancé, The Other Way *, was one of the most emotionally complex and controversial arcs in the show's history. What began as a hopeful connection between a single mother from Georgia and a charming Nigerian man quickly spiraled into a web of miscommunication, cultural misunderstandings, and emotional distance. When Michael returned to the US on a K-1 visa, the couple's relationship began to unravel almost immediately. Then, just months after the birth of their son, Michael made the shocking decision to return to Nigeria, leaving behind not only his wife but also his newborn child. The fallout was immediate. Social media erupted. Fans were divided. Some blamed Michael for abandoning his family. Others pointed fingers at Angela, accusing her of controlling behavior and emotional manipulation. But through it all, Michael remained quiet until today. In an exclusive, deeply personal interview, Ilesanmi finally breaks his silence. For the first time since returning to Nigeria, he opens up about the truth behind his departure, the pain of leaving his son, and the emotional toll of being labeled a deadbeat dad by millions. This is not a story of villainy or victimhood. It is a story of a man caught between two worlds, torn by love, duty, and identity. "I didn't want to leave," Michael begins, his voice low and measured. "I didn't want to walk away from my son. But I felt like I had no choice." Michael's journey with Angela began in 2020, during the height of the pandemic. Like many others, Angela turned to online dating in search of companionship and love. After the loss of her previous partner, she was hesitant but hopeful. She met Michael through a dating site, drawn to his warm smile, his faith, and his desire to build a family. Their connection grew quickly: long video calls, shared dreams, and promises of a future together. "I saw a man who was kind, who respected me, who wanted to take care of me and my daughter," Angela later said on the show. "He made me feel safe." Michael, too, was convinced he had found the love of his life. Angela was different, he recalls. She wasn't just looking for money or a visa. She wanted a real relationship. "I could feel that." But from the beginning, challenges loomed. Angela, a strong-willed single mother with a history of difficult relationships, carried emotional baggage. Michael, raised in a traditional Nigerian household, carried expectations of respect, hierarchy, and family duty. When Michael arrived in the US in 2022 on a K-1 visa, the pressure mounted. "It wasn't just about love anymore," Michael explains. "It was about proving I belonged. Proving I wasn't just there for a green card." Every day felt like an audition. The couple moved in together, but tensions surfaced quickly. Angela's adult daughter, who lived with her, became a point of friction. Michael felt disrespected, saying he was treated more like a guest than a partner. "I wanted to be part of the family," he says. "But I felt like I was always being watched, judged." Then came the pregnancy. Angela announced she was expecting Michael's child, and the news was met with mixed emotions. While Michael was initially overjoyed, he admits he also felt trapped. "I didn't want to be a father under those conditions," he says. "I didn't feel supported. I didn't feel like we were a team." The birth of their son, whom they named Michael Jr., should have been a moment of joy. Instead, it deepened the divide. Michael says he felt excluded from parenting decisions. He claims Angela made medical and logistical choices without consulting him. "I wasn't allowed to hold my son when he was born," he reveals. The nurses handed him to Angela's daughter first. I stood there, watching. I felt like an outsider in my own child's life. Angela, in interviews and on social media, has disputed this account, saying Michael was present and involved. But Michael insists the emotional disconnect was real. It wasn't just about that moment, he says. It was about the months after. I wanted to be a father. I wanted to change diapers, feed him, rock him to sleep. But I was pushed away. As the weeks passed, Michael's mental health began to deteriorate. He says he struggled with anxiety, depression, and feelings of isolation. I was thousands of miles from home, he says. I didn't have my family. I didn't have friends. I didn't speak the language of my emotions freely. In Nigeria, men don't talk about feelings. We suffer in silence. He tried to communicate with Angela, but says their conversations often turned into arguments. She would say I wasn't trying. That I didn't love her. But how do you prove love when you're drowning? Then came the breaking point. In early 2023, Michael made the decision to return to Nigeria. He says it wasn't sudden, it was the culmination of months of pain. I didn't want to go, he insists. But I felt like I was losing myself. I couldn't breathe. He booked a one-way ticket. He says he told Angela he needed time, that he wasn't leaving forever. But the message didn't land. When he boarded the plane, fans watched in disbelief. On social media, the backlash was swift. #Michael is a deadbeat trended for days. I saw the comments, Michael says, his voice cracking. People called me a coward, a fraud, a bad father. But they didn't know what I was going through. They didn't see the nights I cried. The prayers I said, asking God to give me strength. Back in Nigeria, Michael faced a new set of challenges. His family didn't understand why he left. They said I threw away a good life, he says. They didn't know about the loneliness, the pressure, the feeling that I didn't belong. For months, he cut off contact with Angela. He says he needed space to heal. But the absence of his son weighed heavily on him. I look at his pictures every day, he admits. I watch the videos she posts. I hear his laugh. And it kills me that I'm not there. He says he tried to reach out, but communication remained strained. Every time I called, it turned into a fight, he says. She accused me of not caring. But I care more than she knows. In recent months, Michael says he has been working on himself. He's seeing a therapist, reconnecting with his faith, and rebuilding his life. I'm not the same man I was when I left, he says. I've learned to speak up, to set boundaries, to understand my worth. He also wants to clear the air about the allegations that he abandoned his son. I never stopped loving my child, he says firmly. And I never stopped wanting to be a father to him. If anything, that's the one thing that gives me hope. Michael is now exploring legal options to establish visitation rights. He says he wants to be part of his son's life, even if it means long-distance parenting. I don't expect forgiveness, he says. But I hope one day my son will understand that I didn't leave because I didn't love him. I left because I was broken. When asked if he regrets anything, Michael pauses. I regret not getting help sooner, he says. I regret not being stronger. But I don't regret loving Angela. I don't regret our son. He is the best thing that ever happened to me. As for Angela, Michael says he holds no bitterness. She was going through her own pain, he says. We were both trying to survive. Maybe we weren't meant to be together. But I'll always respect her as the mother of my child. Fans of *90 Day Fiancé* have long debated the authenticity of the relationships on the show. Some argue the series exploits vulnerable people for ratings. Others believe it shines a light on real issues in cross-cultural relationships. Michael's story, however, transcends entertainment. It is a cautionary tale about the cost of silence, the weight of expectation, and the complexity of love under pressure. I didn't go on the show for fame, Michael says. I went because I wanted love. I wanted a family. I wanted a second chance at happiness. I didn't expect it to end like this. He acknowledges that reality TV distorted parts of his story. They showed the fights, he says. They showed the tears. But they didn't show the quiet moments. The laughter. The prayers. The times we held each other and said, "We can do this." Now, Michael is focused on the future. He's started a small business in Lagos, mentoring young men on emotional health and relationships. "I want to help others avoid the mistakes I made," he says. "Love shouldn't destroy you. It should lift you." He also dreams of one day meeting his son in person. "I want him to know who I am," he says. "Not the man on TV. Not the villain in the headlines. But his father. A man who made mistakes. A man who's trying to do better." When asked what he would say to Michael Jr. if he could speak to him today, Michael takes a deep breath. "Son," he begins, his voice soft, "I'm sorry I'm not there. I'm sorry life got so hard. But I want you to know that you are loved. You are wanted. You are enough. And one day, I hope I can look into your eyes and tell you that myself." The interview ends on a quiet note. Michael sits in his modest living room in Lagos, sunlight streaming through the window. A photo of his son sits on the table beside him. He doesn't cry. But his eyes glisten. For the first time in a long time, he feels seen. And perhaps, for the first time, the truth has finally been told. Michael's story is far from over. While he may never return to the spotlight, his journey serves as a powerful reminder of the human cost behind reality television. Behind every dramatic edit, every tearful confession, and every controversial exit, there are real people, flawed, hurting, and hoping for love. In the end, Michael didn't fail because he wasn't good enough. He failed because no one taught him how to ask for help. No one showed him that vulnerability isn't weakness. And no one reminded him that love, in its truest form, requires two people to show up not just physically, but emotionally. As fans continue to debate the legacy of *90-day Fiancé*, Michael's voice adds a new dimension to the conversation. It's a voice of regret, yes, but also of growth, resilience, and quiet hope. Because even in loneliness, there can be revelation. And even after goodbye, there can still be truth.